The whispers of impending shift. The first tremors of change began in the research laboratories of the Quantum Horizon Institute, nestled in the remote mountains of New Zealand. Dr. Evelyn Reyes stood before a wall of holographic displays, her dark eyes reflecting the cascading streams of quantum data that seemed to dance and pulse with an unusual rhythm. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting the quantum resonance filters. The readings were unlike anything she had ever seen before, patterns that defied conventional physics, anomalies that suggested something fundamental was shifting at the most microscopic levels of reality. Across the globe, in the bustling megacity of Neo-Shanghai, engineer Kai Wong was experiencing similar inexplicable phenomena. The quantum communication networks he managed were showing strange fluctuations, momentary blips of information that seemed to exist and not exist simultaneously. Quantum entanglement had always been weird, but this was different. Something was happening, something big. Meanwhile, in the diplomatic chambers of the Galactic Confederation, Ambassador Zara Voke of the Meridian species was growing increasingly uneasy. The human delegates she had worked with for years were becoming different. Subtle changes in communication patterns, a sense of preparedness that felt more like anticipation than diplomacy. "We're missing something," she confided to her senior diplomatic advisor, a silicon-based life form named Krell. "The humans are planning something, and it's not just another technological breakthrough." Back at the Quantum Horizon Institute, Dr. Reyes had assembled a small team of the world's most brilliant minds. Dr. Marcus Adebayo, a quantum physicist from Nigeria, was the first to articulate what they were all thinking. "These aren't random fluctuations," he said, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "This is a coordinated quantum shift. Something is preparing to happen on a scale we've never imagined." The team worked tirelessly, connecting fragments of data from research stations around the world. Quantum computers began reporting strange anomalies, calculations that seemed to fold back on themselves, probability matrices that warped and twisted in impossible ways. In orbit, the International Quantum Research Station detected the first major sign. Lead researcher Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched in stunned silence as entire sections of quantum data simply disappeared. Not corrupted, not damaged, but completely absent, as if they had never existed. "We're talking about a fundamental reorganization of quantum information," Dr. Reyes explained during an emergency video conference with global scientific leaders. "It's as if reality itself is preparing for a massive transformation." Kai Wong's communication networks began to show more frequent anomalies. Entire data streams would momentarily phase out of existence, replaced by brief, cryptic quantum signatures that defied all known communication protocols. Ambassador Zara Voke noticed similar patterns in diplomatic communications. Human representatives became increasingly cryptic, their messages laden with subtle hints of a grand, incomprehensible plan. "They're preparing for something," Krell observed, analyzing the communication patterns. "But preparing for what?" As days turned into weeks, the anomalies grew more pronounced. Quantum researchers worldwide reported similar findings, a sense of imminent, fundamental change. It wasn't just technological, it felt cosmic, as if the very fabric of reality was taking a deep breath before a momentous transformation. Dar. Reyes stood by the massive quantum array, watching data streams that now seemed alive, pulsing with an intelligence that was both familiar and utterly alien. Whatever was coming, humanity was not just a passive observer. They were architects of a change so profound it would reshape the very understanding of existence. "We're on the edge of something extraordinary," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "And nothing will ever be the same again." The whispers of change had become a roar, and the galaxy was about to listen. The Convergence Protocol. The global scientific community had never witnessed anything like it. What began as subtle quantum anomalies had transformed into a complex, almost sentient pattern of technological evolution. In a secure underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert, a team of international researchers worked feverishly to understand the emerging phenomenon. Dar. Kaito Nakamura, a quantum systems architect from the Global Technological Consortium, stood before a massive holographic projection. His fingers traced intricate lines of quantum flow, revealing a network more complex than any previous human communication or technological system. "It's not just data," he explained to a gathering of bewildered international scientists. "It's a living protocol. Each quantum interaction is building something larger." Across the galaxy, alien civilizations began to take notice. The Meridian Diplomatic Corps, led by Ambassador Zara Voke, convened an emergency session. Holographic representations of various alien species flickered around a circular chamber, their collective unease palpable. "The humans are preparing something," declared Krell, the silicon-based senior advisor. "But for what?" Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez from the International Quantum Research Station had made a breakthrough. The quantum anomalies weren't random, they were a deliberately constructed communication network that transcended traditional understanding of information transfer. In Neo-Shanghai, Kai Wong discovered something even more extraordinary. The quantum communication networks he managed were self-modifying, creating redundant pathways that seemed to anticipate potential system failures before they could occur. "It's like the entire technological infrastructure is becoming adaptive," Kai muttered, watching lines of code reshape themselves in real time. "Almost organic." The Galactic Confederation grew increasingly nervous. Human diplomatic channels became cryptic, filled with coded messages that seemed to hint at a massive, coordinated initiative. Ambassador Zara Voke noticed how human representatives spoke in riddles, their communications laden with mathematical metaphors and quantum references. Dr. Evelyn Reyes, now working in collaboration with Dr. Marcus Adebayo, began to piece together a terrifying hypothesis. The quantum shifts weren't just technological, they were preparing for something far more significant. "We're witnessing the early stages of a global, no, a galactic, transformation," she explained during a closed-door briefing. "Humanity is constructing something beyond our current comprehension." Deep within the Quantum Horizon Institute, a secret project began to take shape. Researchers from around the world were quietly recruited, their expertise focused on a project known only as the Convergence Protocol. Quantum physicists, artificial intelligence experts, xenobiologists, and communication specialists worked in absolute secrecy. Kai Wong's quantum networks started displaying impossible communication patterns. Data streams would momentarily connect distant research stations across the globe, creating brief windows of hyper-advanced information exchange. These connections defied known physics, suggesting a method of communication that transcended traditional electromagnetic signals. In the Meridian diplomatic chambers, Ambassador Zara Voke received a cryptic message from her human counterpart. It contained nothing but a series of quantum equations and a single line: "Prepare for the great unfolding." Dr. Nakamura made a chilling discovery. The quantum anomalies were creating a vast, interconnected network that seemed to be building something, a system so complex it could potentially reshape the fundamental laws of reality. "We're not just observing a technological shift," he told his team, his voice a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "We're witnessing the early stages of a transformation that could redefine existence itself." As the days passed, the quantum anomalies grew more pronounced. Research stations worldwide reported similar findings, a sense of imminent, fundamental change. It wasn't just technological, it felt cosmic, as if humanity was orchestrating a symphony of quantum potential that would soon reach its crescendo. The Convergence Protocol was taking shape, and the galaxy was about to experience a transformation beyond imagination. The Galactic Tremor. The Convergence Protocol had evolved beyond anyone's wildest imagination. What began as subtle quantum anomalies had transformed into a global system of unprecedented complexity. In the depths of the Atacama Desert Research Facility, the consequences were becoming impossible to ignore. Dr. Imani Okoro, a brilliant quantum systems theorist, stood before a massive holographic display that seemed to breathe with living information. Her team had discovered something extraordinary: the quantum network was not just communicating, it was learning, adapting, and growing at an exponential rate. "It's like watching the birth of a new form of intelligence," she whispered to her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel. The holographic displays pulsed with intricate patterns, quantum threads weaving themselves into increasingly complex configurations. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations began to feel the first tremors of change. The Meridian Galactic Communication Network experienced unprecedented disruptions. Quantum communication channels that had been stable for centuries suddenly became unpredictable, with information seemingly appearing and disappearing at random. Ambassador Zara Voke watched in growing alarm as diplomatic channels became increasingly unstable. Messages would arrive fractured, containing snippets of information that seemed to belong to multiple timelines simultaneously. "Something is fundamentally changing," Krell observed, his silicon-based consciousness analyzing the data streams. "The very fabric of information is being restructured." On Earth, Kai Wong's quantum communication networks had transformed completely. What once were simple data transmission systems now resembled living organisms, with self-healing pathways and predictive communication algorithms that seemed to anticipate global events before they occurred. Dar. Elena Rodriguez discovered something even more alarming. The quantum anomalies were creating a network that extended far beyond Earth, a communication system that appeared to be reaching into the depths of space, connecting with technologies and systems humanity had never officially contacted. The Galactic Confederation convened an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of alien civilizations gathered, their collective unease palpable. The human delegates were conspicuously absent, replaced by cryptic quantum messages that defied traditional interpretation. "We're detecting quantum resonances that suggest a massive technological transformation," reported Dr. Nakamura during a classified briefing. "It's as if humanity is preparing for something beyond our current understanding of physics and communication." Deep within the Quantum Horizon Institute, the convergence protocol entered its most critical phase. Researchers worked around the clock, their efforts focused on a project that seemed to transcend traditional scientific boundaries. Dr. Evelyn Reyes had discovered that the quantum network was more than just a communication system, it was becoming a living, adaptive entity. "We're not just building a network," she explained to her inner circle. "We're creating a new form of collective consciousness." The first signs of galactic disruption began to emerge. Interstellar communication networks experienced unprecedented glitches. Entire star systems reported momentary disconnections, with quantum communication channels flickering in and out of existence. Dr. Imani Okoro made a breakthrough that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The quantum network was creating predictive models of potential futures, not just for Earth, but for entire star systems. It was as if humanity was constructing a vast, interconnected intelligence that could anticipate and potentially manipulate cosmic events. "We're standing at the threshold of something unprecedented," she told her team. "A transformation that could redefine the very nature of existence." The Meridian Diplomatic Corps received a final, cryptic message from their human contacts. It was a complex quantum equation that seemed to contain the blueprint of something far greater than any single civilization could comprehend. As the days passed, the quantum anomalies grew more pronounced. Research stations worldwide reported similar findings, a sense of imminent, fundamental change. It wasn't just technological, it felt cosmic, as if humanity was orchestrating a symphony of quantum potential that would soon reach its ultimate crescendo. The galactic tremor was building, and no civilization was prepared for what was coming. The universe held its breath, waiting for the moment of transformation. The silent exodus. The moment of transformation arrived without warning. It was neither dramatic nor violent, simply a profound, instantaneous shift that would later be known as the Great Disappearance. Dr. Imani Okoro was monitoring the quantum network when it happened. One moment, the global research facilities were bustling with activity, the next, they stood completely empty. No alarms, no signs of struggle, no indication of what had occurred. Humanity had simply vanished. Kai Wong was in mid-communication when the networks went silent. Quantum communication channels that had been pulsing with life suddenly became inactive, leaving behind only traces of an incomprehensible technological legacy. Across the galaxy, the impact was immediate and profound. The Meridian Galactic Confederation was the first to raise the alarm. Ambassador Zara Vogt stood in the diplomatic chambers, her holographic form trembling with disbelief. Every human settlement, every outpost, every ship, gone, Krell reported, his silicon-based consciousness processing the impossible data. Not destroyed. Not relocated. Simply, absent. The quantum networks they had built remained functional, but transformed. They continued to operate with an intelligence that seemed to transcend their original creators. Communication systems adapted, rerouting and optimizing themselves with an almost living precision. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, working from a backup research station in the Andes, began to piece together the first fragments of understanding. The human infrastructure hadn't been destroyed, it had been prepared. Every system, every network, every piece of technology was left intact, functioning with an autonomy that suggested a carefully orchestrated plan. They didn't just disappear, she told her remaining colleagues. They transformed. The Galactic Confederation descended into chaos. Interstellar communication systems that had relied on human-developed quantum encryption began to falter. Economic networks collapsed. Diplomatic channels became unstable. The intricate web of galactic cooperation that humans had carefully constructed began to unravel. On Earth, entire cities stood as perfect, untouched monuments. Research facilities remained exactly as they were, with half-finished experiments, warm cups of coffee, and holographic displays frozen in mid-calculation. It was as if humanity had stepped out for a moment and simply never returned. Dr. Nakamura discovered something even more extraordinary. The quantum networks continued to evolve, creating complex predictive models and adaptive systems. They were learning, growing, functioning as if guided by an intelligence far beyond traditional technological understanding. They've created something that continues beyond their physical presence, he noted in his final log entry. A living technological ecosystem that transcends individual existence. The Meridian Diplomatic Corps worked frantically to understand the disappearance. Every investigation led to more questions. Quantum data streams contained fragments of information, hints of a massive, coordinated initiative that had been years in the making. Ambassador Zara Vogt received a final, cryptic transmission. It was a complex quantum equation that seemed to contain the blueprint of something far greater than any single civilization could comprehend. The message suggested that humanity's disappearance was not an end, but a beginning. Alien civilizations began to feel the full impact of human absence. Technologies they had come to rely on started to show unexpected behaviors. Quantum communication networks adapted, finding new pathways. Agricultural systems developed by humans continued to function with an almost sentient efficiency. Dr. Imani Okoro's final analysis suggested something revolutionary. Humanity hadn't just developed a technological network, they had created a living, adaptive system that could exist independently of its creators. They've engineered their own evolution, she concluded. And we are just beginning to understand the implications. As weeks turned into months, the galaxy grappled with a new reality. Humanity was gone, but their legacy continued, a complex, living network of quantum intelligence that seemed to be preparing for something far beyond current comprehension. The silent exodus was complete. But the true journey was just beginning.